I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Well, the corrupt clown car of corruption has spoken. The group of people that are supposed to follow the Constitution, they constantly hold up as gospel when it suits them, of course.
No one is above the law in our constitutional system. Federalist 69, Hamilton, makes clear all the ways that the executive branch as designed by the framers of the Constitution was different from the monarchy. Under our system of government, the executive branch is subject to the law.
You know, the same Constitution they keep quoting to make sure anyone and everyone has a gun, no matter what mental illness is present. The same court who said corporations are people.
I don't get it.
And can give as much money as they want to politicians who just said when ruling on the Schneider case that bribes are legal as long as they're paid after you did the corrupt act. You know, like a tip. But with the presidential immunity ruling, the court isn't just putting in the tip. They have bent over the whole system and rammed it all the way in. You know, when it comes to this specific Supreme Court, the needs of Americans become less important based on how many millions in bribes or motorhomes or yacht trips the conservative justices take. This last week, the conservative justices gave immunity to the president for crimes committed while acting in his official capacity. You know, like sending a mob to the Capitol or overcharging Secret Service at his bedbug resorts and golfing 300 days. Official, you know, like a king or a dictator. You know, the absolute opposite of what the founding fathers wanted or said or talked about. In fact, the entire point of this country is for the law to apply to everyone equally.
No one is above the law in our constitutional system.
You know, America. But the seditious six, these treasonous, traitorous Trump taint lickers, have decided that the president is above the law, no matter how many times they said he wasn't.
I believe that no one is above the law under our system, and that includes the president.
Nobody in this country is above the law, and that includes the president.
No man is above the law, and I agree with that.
Cool. The decades-long project by Republicans to change and remake the Supreme Court to turn it into a right-wing, irresponsible, and frankly evil anti-constitution, anti-democracy nightmare is finally complete. From guns to dark money and now to propping up a dictator, the Supreme Court is no longer a court protecting Americans. It is a court for the billionaires, and it is for sale. Come on down and get the ruling you want at the low, low price of 3 weeks in Belize on your yacht. It's not just a presidential immunity case. The dismantling of America and the rule of law includes Citizens United, where they made it legal to pay politicians. Schneider, where they made it legal to bribe politicians. Oh, and Supreme Court justices. And now they've made it legal for the president to steal, lie, and murder. You know, like our founding fathers wanted. This current Supreme Court is supposed to follow set precedent, and they said they would during their confirmation hearings.
Precedent on precedent.
But they killed Roe. They are directly responsible for allowing mass shootings to continue in this country. They are responsible for the rich always getting what they want, and the poor always getting bent over. And now, they're responsible for making the presidency a monarchy. The entire reason we left England. You know, Thomas Jefferson said,
I was much an enemy to monarchies before I came to Europe. I am 10,000 times more so, since I have seen what they are. There is scarcely an evil known in these countries, which may not be traced to their king.
So, the Supreme Court is neither in its current state. And that's a sad day. Well, how do we fix it? Well, here's another quote by Abraham Lincoln.
The ballot is more powerful than the bullet. Now hand me my giant hat and let's win.
So vote, because with this Supreme Court, it may be your last chance. And if you don't vote, you may never get a chance again. Hey, Biden, you know what? Maybe an official act is jailing Trump for January 6th, at least until trial. National security. Yeah, it's an official act. And maybe arresting a guy and his wife who gave comfort to the insurrectionists and bust them there, and another guy who flew the flag of the insurrection over both his houses. Hell, there are 1,000 people in jail for stuff like that. What's two more? Go for it, Joe. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. It just fucking keeps unraveling, man. How the fuck do we have this many corrupt people fucking up the best country in the world? Democracy. Everything we do is getting fucked with by these assholes. For what? Howard, you already got Well, hey everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. Welcome today. With me, as always, the lovely Bombshell Ray.
What's up, people?
And the Highlander. Yell it, Paul. Yell it. Yeah, he's up there in the sound booth right now. But this week we have a guest. After the Supreme Court ruling and the nightmare that seems to be unfolding in America right now, I thought we would bring in somebody who's in the heart of the right, who's probably one of the bravest men I know. Texas Paul Schroeder. Ladies and gentlemen, Texas Paul. How you doing, man?
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Great to be here.
Man, I wanted to have you.
Stoked.
I wanted to have you on because people say to me, like, Titus, you did American, you did these shows, and you go into Ohio, and you go into the heart of the Midwest where it's red, and you do these shows. And I'm like, man, Texas Paul lives in Texas and gets dressed like, and you're more liberal than anybody. It's funny to me. Do you get any crap, by the way, in your home state?
No, not really. Not really. These MAGA people, they're loudmouths, but they're not like really brave people.
That's valid.
I tell you, the only crazy over the top thing I ever had was, people look at me and they make assumptions. They assume the way I look, they think that I think like they do.
You were at the insurrection. We pretty much would guess you were at the insurrection carrying a flag and beating a cop with it. Yes. Just the way, based on the way you look. Yes.
Not me, brother. Not me.
No, I know, but no,
I'm in a Walmart, and this old guy, man, probably 85, walks in, and I just, hey, how you doing, man? How's the weather? And he goes on this tirade about Barack Obama dropping the N-word and all the. I'm turning beet red, man. I mean, just glowing red. And his wife is looking at me, and she can see my reaction. And this guy is clueless, just absolutely clueless. She grabs him by the arm and come on, baby, come on. Nobody wants to hear this. Come on, let's go. But yeah, for the most part, it's really calm around here, man.
Where do you live in Texas?
I live within 5 minutes in 3 different directions of headquarters for white supremacy groups. No. And I don't hear shit from these people.
Yeah. Really? Where are you, Paul? Is it Dallas area?
Go east. Go east. You know the corner there, they call it the Arklatex. It's
I know Arklatex.
Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas. I'm in the sticks, man. That's why my internet sucks so bad. I am literally in the sticks, man.
Okay.
I am out there.
Do you know that
northeast of Tyler?
I went to East Texas Baptist University in Marshall, and I lived in Uncertain, Texas. So I know that area very well.
Yeah. I love Marshall, by the way. I do. Every Christmas, I'm looking forward to Christmas this year, man. Every Christmas when they light up the courthouse there, I love Marshall.
No, but that's a sentence never said. Yeah. I love Marshall, Texas.
Marshall. When they light up the courthouse, they put the tiny lights all around. Let's talk about what's going on, man. I always love your insight onto it's interesting because you, quote, look like you're a representative of Texas. You look like a dude. You could put you in any decade in the last 10 and you'd look exactly like you're supposed to be. I love your insight onto what's going on. I think the Supreme Court pretty much put I'm not going to say the final nail in the coffin, but a definite nail in the coffin for America if Trump gets reelected. And the Armageddon update was all about the Supreme. We have a Supreme Court that in my lifetime I have never seen this kind of corruption, this kind of partisanship. The one thing you could depend on growing up, and I know we've had times in the past where the Supreme Court was a little bit, skewed a little bit either way. In the 30s, we had it, but it seems like since the 50s and 60s, the Supreme Court, with some few exceptions, was never this political ideologues as they are now. Like these guys flat out came out and said, we are not going to change set precedent, and within 6 months, change set precedent. They just made bribery illegal, the Schneider ruling. I mean, I'm not even talking about just what they just did with making the president a king.
Well, I think you have to talk about that, is that there was precedent with Nixon.
Yes.
And that ruling, I think, came within 9 or 11 days. It was a short time. Right. They knew how important it was to the country. They made the decision. This Supreme Court completely ignored that precedent and waited until the very last day. 4 months to put that decision out?
But it's we also have evidence of their crimes, like Uncle Thomas, his wife helped the insurrectionists. Alito's flying the flag of, we could call it the rebellion against America. Like, and yet how do you let two guys who are obviously on one side, they're not for the American people. How do you let two guys continue to serve on the highest court in the land, making rules for all of us when obviously they're skewed in how they're making the rules? I mean, what's your insight onto this? Because I keep thinking it's going to be okay. I can't believe after the last 4 years of Trump that we're here again. People don't even understand how much it's repeating exactly what happened with Hitler, except for the jail time. Trump should have been in jail for it. Had Trump been in jail for the last 4 years and then come back out, it would be exactly like, it would parallel Hitler. What do you think, man? You got to be as pissed as I am.
Oh man, the more I read about this, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they wrote into this decision a legal death loop. Even if you tried to pursue crimes, because they didn't define what the core responsibilities were. Every time, imagine, it would take 50 years to prosecute a president, because they would, all I have to do is file a motion that says, no, I have immunity on this subject, go one subject at a time, and it has to make its way through the Court of Appeals, then the full panel of appeals, then to the Supreme Court. And you saw the Supreme Court, they held this to the very last day. They drug this out as far as they possibly could for each and every issue around the case. So it would literally take longer than most presidents would live to prosecute one now. It's insane, man. The more we read into this, the worse it gets.
But as I said in the Armageddon update, how do you take every principle the country was founded on and flush it? That's basically what they did. By giving the president this kind of immunity, what we've done is, and you know what I wish? I hope, look, we saw the debate. If Biden is lost a little bit, I hope he's lost enough to go, you know what we need to do? We need to arrest the two guys that were kind of backing up the insurrection. Yeah, it's official act. It's actually national security. And I think until his cases are settled, Trump needs to be sitting in a cell. He can't be free flying around the country. He's a flight risk, and he tried to overthrow the government. You know what? These are official acts for the national security of America. And do it. Just do it. What are they gonna? What would they do? What could they do? There'd be a rebellion. We'd get the military in and shut it down, which is another official act to knock down an umbrella. Like he's just opened up a can of worms, a Pandora's box. Then can of worms sounds so weenie. A Pandora's box of nightmare for everything that we stood for. They just threw it all out in one ruling.
Well, they sent also, they divided presidential actions into 3 categories. The first being official acts. The second being acts that were within his, so full immunity on presidential acts, implied immunity on the second, and then the third would be private acts. But then they sent it back to the district court, to Judge Chutkan, to then hold all these hearings and all these witnesses to decide whether or not these specific things, like the false electors, were official acts. Well, so then she makes the decision, and like you said, he appeals that. And then thus begins, what they did was they ensured that she wasn't even going to have a shot in hell of getting it done before the election. It's just going to be tied up in the court.
They even said that she acts really fast. So even if she took it up today,
right,
and decided on it by the end of the week,
right.
Let's take a month. What still happens is then he appeals it. They put it off 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. We're fucked. What I don't believe is now that I can't believe that they're in the pocket for Trump, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, I guess maybe Clarence needs a new motorhome. What is going on, man?
Man, it's even worse. Did you hear what J.D. Vance said?
Oh, no.
The Supreme Court came out and said that they're going to be the arbiter in each individual case. They're not going to come out and they're not going to enumerate any. They're not going to write any of this out so that anybody can have any kind of decision, anything to make a decision with. They're going to be the decider on every case. Yes. Then J.D. Vance comes out and says, well, yeah, the president deserves immunity, but not Biden. I mean, It's so painfully obvious what they intend to do here. Anytime there's a Republican, he has complete and utter immunity. You can't touch the man. But every time there's a Democrat, hey, we decide. It's criminal. what these guys are doing, and they're doing it right in our face.
What made me
Like we're not going to
insane?
do anything
They
about
stopped
it. I mean,
they stopped
never
being
met
subtle.
me, you know, I mean,
Yeah, they stopped being subtle about it, didn't they?
If when this decision came out, Republicans should have been worried that this decision came out while Biden is in office. We should have been hearing conversation about that, because Biden now, it was very specifically detailed that him, authorizing SEAL Team 6 to take Trump out could be considered an official act within his presidency. But nobody said a word about that because they know Biden won't do that. And that it's just all for Trump to do.
Yeah, there you go. Fact. Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I think Biden should do it, because
awesome.
Here's the thing. Let's go down let's do a crazy scenario. All right, because I'm to the point now. The only way you fight dipshits like this is to be as bad as they are. So I would say this: we have proof and facts. We saw it on television that Trump tried to overthrow the government of the United States. So to protect national security, Biden needs to arrest him. And I would, whatever he does, whether it's jail or assassinate, whatever, get rid of the guy that tried to overthrow the government. Mm-hmm. Then you disband the Supreme Court and put the people you want, because it's an official act. We've already seen that Clarence Thomas is corrupt as hell. $8 million in bribes. We've got Alito flying the insurrection flag. Okay. It's an official act. Biden is obviously trying to protect the country.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go for it. The problem is what you said, and JD Vance, this guy wrote a half-ass white trash novel. It's like, bro, I don't even understand. When did we used to care that people that were in government had some ability? We got Boebert, Green, Gates, JD Vance. You guys are not qualified to be running this, to be part of any power. Jim Jordan's done nothing in his time enough. And now we've got all these guys that have just passed law after law. Basically, they've done no laws at all. But I mean, we got the Supreme Court that is passing laws that's letting everybody do what they want on the right. What would happen? What would happen if Biden did what I just said? What do you think would happen?
The Democratic Party would turn on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They would eat themselves like they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, man. I mean, that's never going to happen, because, and that's what the Republicans are relying on. They're absolutely relying on the fact that we're going to play by the rules and continue to play by the rules, even though they just changed the rules. We're going to stick to the old rules, and they're not. Right. So really, this boils down to one thing and one thing only: November. You got the 2025 project. That doesn't, like I told people in my show today, that doesn't start on January 20th, 2025. It ends on January 20th, 2025. Yeah. You have one shot in November, and that's it. They're telling you to your face. I mean, they're not, like I said, they're not being coy about it. They're not hiding it. They're telling you to your face. We're going to have different sets of rules for Democrats and Republicans. We are never going to hold a Republican accountable, ever. I mean, hell, there were headlines during the impeachment. They know Trump's guilty, but they're not going to vote to convict him. It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, this is it, folks. I mean, you either give your kids the country that was given to you, or we got a king from now on. King's the wrong word, I guess. Yeah. We've got a despot, a dictator.
Yeah.
From now on.
It won't be. Yeah. Well, I mean, the same thing. There's a great quote. Lincoln said that this goes to what you said. I'll paraphrase it. The ballot is more powerful than the bullet. And so the only way we can do it is to vote so overwhelmingly where they go. Because I mean, look, I have people in my family that are right wing, and I can't fathom them. I guess I can. Everybody's confused. I'm to the point now, man. Look, I thought we were cool. I thought Biden's been kicking ass. Economy's booming. 5.1% growth at one quarter. Our average is like at 2.3%. We're kicking ass. We've got infrastructure, CHIPS Act. Everything's kicking ass. And then I watched the Democrats just yank the rug out over one debate. And we saw him on the rally the next day, and he was fine. I don't understand. I've never seen a group of people motherfuck themselves, excuse my language, as bad as the Democrats do. I've never seen people go, hey, you know what? I'm holding a 2x4 as a weapon. I'm going to hit myself in the face with it. I don't understand the Democrats right now. And what do we, is it virtue signaling? Well, he's obviously old. We need to fix it. What is it? Because they're going to lose. Who are you going to put in 6 months on that ticket? Gavin and Kamala, maybe. But what do you like? I don't want to just rip on the Republicans because the Democrats they're really being punk ass bitches right now. Excuse my language.
When did you start?
Well, actually, let me push back just a little bit on that. What you're seeing is what the corporate media does. It's a manufactured crap, is what it is.
Right.
The White House has put it out. We didn't say anything about we're thinking about quitting. Democrats, no Democrat. I have not spoken to a single Democrat that has said we need to replace Biden. If you want to talk about polls, his poll numbers have gone up since the debate. Everybody said the exact same thing. Wow. He screwed the pooch on that debate. He looked like hammered shit. So he did what he had to do over the next 5 or 6 days. He went out there and he gave us Dark Brandon. I mean, he just did.
Yeah, he did.
But we're not seeing that on the news. What you're seeing
in the media is they live off fear. They live off clicks.
Yep.
So they're going to run with, they're going to replace Biden. But let me give you some inside baseball on that. I mean, I actually talked to Democratic strategists that are employed doing this.
Okay, I got it.
There is no replacing Joe Biden.
No,
there isn't. The law is really straightforward about this. We tried this once after Johnson said in late March, I'm not running. There's nobody that has put the ground game together, raised the money, done anything. Right now, Biden has a decisive advantage in ground game. He's got a decisive advantage in fundraising. He is kicking Trump's ass in every aspect politically. He is. If he drops out, the person that takes his place starts at zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Biden can't just hand this over legally. He can't.
Even the money he's raised, he can't hand over. He can't just transfer that account.
People gave that money to him.
If that's the truth,
so no Democrat. So just to finish that up, no Democrat that is actually a Democrat that is actually of the party is saying we need to replace Joe Biden. Nobody. They're all saying the exact same thing that I think I heard you say. And damn it, I'm on my second keyboard, man. Every time I go to watch one of your videos, I ban beverages when I watch your videos now.
That was very nice. Anyway, you're very nice and very complimentary about the Armageddon update. Thank you. And Ken heard it too.
They're all saying the exact same thing. We would stuff his ass, put his aviator glasses on, and weekend and Bernie's him through the election.
Yes, we will.
Before we ever replaced him.
Yep.
I have a question. So then what? Okay. So the media has got to know that we are literally at an inflection point for what's going to happen to America. We've never been this close to literally losing the country. So why would the media?
So let me I opened CNN.com just to see what's going on. Here are the top few headlines. Press secretary sidesteps question on whether Biden takes daily naps.
No, she didn't.
Democrats fear Biden could jeopardize chances of flipping House. Hear Harris's reply when asked if she's ready to be president. Former Republicans ready to embrace Biden to beat Trump, and then came the debate. I mean, it's every top headline from CNN.
What?
They're really trying to push because it's scary. It's scary. It's clickbait.
But also
they're trying to scare people.
CNN was purchased by a very hardcore right-wing billionaire.
It's the same on MSNBC.
Right before they fired Don Lemon, it was purchased, and he got rid of everybody. MSNBC too. But doesn't the media understand, especially MSNBC? Don't you understand that if Trump gets elected, you're done? The Supreme Court just guaranteed you're done.
He'll put 4 new justices on in his next term. Think about that. We will die before that Supreme Court dies.
So
Rachel,
let me finish.
Yeah.
Rachel, you're one of the smartest people I know. Back me up on this. Historically, no, they don't know. They don't know. Historically, they've never known. Every time they try to do something like this, you always have a billionaire frat boy club that thinks that they can control this Frankenstein's monster.
Yep, throughout history.
Every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
They think that they can control it, and they can't. They can't. So they pave the way for this monster, and then it turns on them and eats their face off first.
Yep.
Historically, that happens every single time.
Yep.
Except for Germany in the 30s, and except for there's a couple other times through history where it got to the point where millions died. That's what look, every great
That's what I'm saying happens.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying happens.
Yeah.
Exactly what happens.
It definitely ends eventually. But what it takes is a world war and millions dying. So what I don't quite understand is why is the media, and I'm talking everybody from Stephanie Ruhle, the only person who's always clear-eyed seems to be Rachel Maddow. She's always very clear-eyed. This is crazy what we're doing. John Stewart also.
He said briefly to your question, fear-mongering because it's clickbait. It's the monkey with the banana.
But it's so short-sighted. Listen, I get if it was Biden and Romney. Biden has that debate, and even I would be going, well, Romney seems to be together, and I know Romney's not going to burn the country down. As I always say, he'll sell off Florida because that's what he does. He's a corporate raider. He'll just get rid of a couple of states, sell them to other countries, and we'll have to deal with that. But Trump's vile. He's a vile, rancid boil on the ass of democracy, and he always has been. People forget that this guy was in court with his father for being a racist, not letting black people live in their apartment buildings. And this is in the 70s. The Nixon administration indicted Trump. So when the criminals are like, hey, man, this guy's a criminal, which Nixon did, I just don't understand what the media is going to get out of this except for a very short-term bump in ratings. Is that it? Because you're going to end America for a short-term bump on. Why don't you be honest? And here's what Ray and I we're walking around. By the way, Ray and I have been walking around the house ranting. I don't know how you and your wife are, but just walking around. But I just get up and I start ranting. I watched the press conference today. Nobody once brought up, and his press secretary didn't bring up. He goes, "Why are we talking about one bad debate performance when you saw the next morning the man stand up and kick ass? Why aren't you talking about the man who owes $500 million in fine, $100 million of it for rape? What are you talking about? Why are we talking about if this guy needs to bow out? This man has committed crime after crime after crime. He's currently got he's convicted 34 felonies and he's got 57 more to go. Why are you even talking about Joe Biden? What are you talking about?
That's what we don't get. This is what we were ranting about today. There is no conversation that Trump was fact-checked and lied 38, 39 times.
Every time.
So that if you think about within that, what was a short debate, and then half of that was his time, he's lying at more than once a minute. So every time he got the mic, he was lying. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about Biden. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You know, though, you say we're not talking about it. They're not talking about it.
Right.
CNN, whose ratings are in the shitter, pardon my expression, sorry.
Are they really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Their ratings are trash. Their CEO is looking at the next quarter. That's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. Their ratings are trash. So, yeah, they're talking about it because they think they have clickbait. You and I aren't. We're talking about everything that you just mentioned. I mean, it's really the disconnect between what the media thinks that the narrative they think they're putting out there versus the reality of what's happening here on the ground is gobsmacking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I have people in my show that are asking the exact same question that you are. What is up with these people? Why are they? And I'm like, show me one.
Okay,
show
so
me
here's
one
my
of
question.
These people.
So here's my question. So Ray and I tour all the time, right? We're all over the country all the time. And we talk to people and audiences and stuff. And it seems to the thing is, I know how dumb America really is. As Carlin said, picture the medium stupid person. The medium IQ is 100, and that means half the people are stupider than that. So there's a lot of people that they're working their ass off. The way the society's built is that they're busting their ass just to pay their rent. They're not paying attention like you and I and Rhea pay attention. So if all they're seeing every day is Biden's a loser, Biden's got dementia, Biden's toddling, he's too old. If all they're seeing every day, that's definitely going to affect the election. Don't you agree? I know you're trying to be.
It would have 10 years ago. It would have. But you know what we've got today that we didn't have 10 years ago? You, me, all of the people that said to the corporate media, go screw yourself.
Yeah.
We're not playing this game anymore. You've got Rachel sitting there. I watch you, man. I watch you, dude. She sits there and lays facts down over and over and over and over again every show.
Yep. And
people watch. I mean, how many? I mean, you've got a huge following, guy. People watch, and I'm telling you, it's not the same. And that's why they're trying to kill TikTok.
Yeah.
Be quite honest with you, they're really trying to kill TikTok because they had a snitch site. I talked about this on my show today. They had a snitch site. I was talking to people about how going forward, the first thing they'll do is pass sedition laws, and then your MAGA relatives, coworkers, they'll be the ones snitching on you and turning you in.
Right.
And the people were like, "Well, that's hyperbole." I'm like, "Really?" Because right now in Texas, there's a snitch site. If you want to report someone that's left the state and had a legal abortion.
Yeah.
That's really happening today.
Like everybody should be forced to read 1984. You should just every like at third grade, they should force you to read 1984. And then fourth grade, you should read it again. And then fifth grade, you should read it again. Because we have lost the ability. I'm talking about it in my new stand-up special, than what I'm working on now, about how white people want to stop teaching white history because white people know what white people did. And white people, we did it. And you don't want anybody to know. And so now you've got people thinking on each other. Do you think, all right, so my prediction is this. If the elections if they're not oppressing people, if they're not keeping people away from the polls, if they're not intimidating people, I think Biden's going to win this election well, he won by 8 million last time, by 12 million votes.
7.5, almost 8, yeah.
It's going to be crazy. Because I think even the people that don't want to get involved, like you and I have no problem arguing with somebody, right? There's a lot of people that just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the conflict. I don't want to deal with the confrontation. I think those people in the voting booths by themselves are going to go, I can't. It'll be 8 years. It means since 2015, this douchebag has just fucked with America. And I think we're all tired of it. Even the people that voted for him, they're tired of it. And
well, I'm looking
Amen, brother. I mean, Roe is huge.
Took half the rights.
It's not being hypothetical.
Right.
It got real. And then this ruling, even the people that aren't involved, a dumbass gets this. You play the clip of Nixon saying, "Well, if a president does it, it's not illegal." And everybody immediately, I don't care how dumb you are, you watch that clip and you go, "Oh, bullshit."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think something that people are not talking about, because everything else was so mind-boggling in that ruling that came out, is the way in which his powers over the DOJ were expanded in that decision. I was just reading about this today. And what that means for Trump is payback, which he and all of his allies have promised to do. They have even tweeted specific names of journalists like Rachel Maddow that they are going to imprison when Trump gets back in office. Roberts wrote, "The president may now discuss potential investigations and prosecutions with his AG and other Justice Department officials to carry out his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed." Doesn't seem as bad, but then it's written as though there's nothing wrong with whatever the content of those discussions are. That's not addressed. Then he says,
it's official act.
Then he says, the indictment's allegation talking about the January 6th case, that the requested investigations were shams or proposed for an improper purpose, do not divest the president of exclusive authority over the investigative and prosecutorial functions of the Justice Department and its officials, and he cannot be prosecuted for conduct within his exclusive constitutional authority. Trump is therefore absolutely immune. So think about those two things combined.
Yeah, I mean, you're killing it. And can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
He was talking about Jeffrey Clark. Remember the guy that came to the door in his underwear and they handcuffed him in his freaking underwear in his driveway?
Yep.
He was talking about Jeffrey Clark when he was talking about that. He was talking about literally having the DOJ sanction his fake slates of electors.
Yes.
That was the coup. That was the plan. Mm-hmm. The DOJ muddies the waters and says, oh no, the fake slates of electors are the legitimate ones. And then the Republicans said, okay, well, the DOJ said we've got cover, make Trump president again. That was the coup. That was the whole plan. He literally said, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. And you not only can you not prosecute him for that, you can't even use that as evidence.
Right. Right.
So
it can't be used against them.
So what they've done is what George Washington said was going to be a problem. You could never give one branch of government power over all three. And basically what that did is that now gives the executive branch power over the judicial branch. So we no longer have three equal branches. We no longer have three equal branches of government. And holy shit.
It ends that's basically fundamental. A 50-year era since Nixon. Really, that was when that was solidified. And, Nixon somewhere is going, what the hell? Because under these ideas, he would never have had to leave the presidency. He never would have feared prosecution. So then Nixon and his AG used and abused the DOJ. That created a problem. So that's what put this into place, was that since then, all attorneys general have tried to keep, even Merrick Garland talks about it all the time. Biden says he doesn't have anything. They don't.
His own son was up on a charge that nobody gets charged with, and Biden didn't get involved.
And I didn't see, I looked it up. And tell me where to go, because Wall Street Journal did a poll, Axios, CBS, New York Times, of course, Fox, CNN did a poll, and everyone is saying that Trump's lead widened after the debate.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. That is that not what you're seeing in the polls?
Yeah, tell us.
No, not with actual. Not polls made for the media, but polls made for actual campaigns.
Yeah.
Actually, Biden picked up 3 points.
Okay.
No shit. Everybody was like, wow, I don't know how, but wow, it happened. And I think it had to do with the fact that Trump solidified for every human being that watched that exactly why we kicked him out of office last time.
Right.
And just because the media is not talking about it doesn't mean that didn't really happen. Everybody that watched that debate saw Trump lie and refuse to talk about any policy whatsoever.
Yes.
And just lie his ever-loving ass off the entire debate, and confirmed for everybody exactly why we hate Donald Trump.
He didn't even answer a question.
Your optimism is I'm not sure if I think you're insane or are you making me feel better? Because it seems at every turn, like we've talked about this, the further we go down this road, okay, he got 4 indictments, 91 felony counts. Great, good, he's going down. Then judge, how the fuck does Eileen Cannon, the judge he put on, who he obviously has pictures of her with a goat because she is doing everything that he wants. So how does that, then you go to the next level. You go that he actually goes to the other case and goes after Fonnie Willis about some relationship that has absolutely zero to do with any legality of this case that he's been accused of. So then that takes 6 months. We're not this man. Everything is working for him. I don't understand it. So if Biden has the right, and it's an official act to make sure that criminals get a speedy trial based on our Constitution, why? I just don't understand why he doesn't do it. So I'm getting disheartened, and I don't get disheartened about this, that at every step of the way, then we get the Supreme Court to rule. They ruled that bribery's okay. And just in this last session, bribery's okay. The president can pretty much do what he wants with total immunity. And there was one more that just came out. There was one more that just came out that I was like, what?
Homelessness is now a crime.
Homelessness is now a crime. That's right. You can now, right. So we are becoming everything that a fascist state is. And the Supreme Court is heading it. The Supreme Court has now taken more power than Congress or the presidency.
They gave themselves an awful lot of power.
And then they said,
and no checks and balances.
And then, that's the other thing they passed. They passed a law that they got rid of Chevron. Chevron basically said that how do we determine which legal and what isn't? Well, you have the experts come in and go, well, this much, 1,000 parts per million of this chemical kills a lot of people. Yeah. That's illegal. They said, no, we decide now.
Yes.
Really, the dumbass. Okay, all right, and so I am losing hope. Let me
pull you
Paul.
back from the edge a little bit.
Okay.
Let me pull you back from the edge a little bit. That's why I had you on, because I'm like just staring down the barrel. I'm honestly Gibson and Lethal Weapon, the first one, to help me out.
When you said all those things, How did you feel about him?
I was angry. Like you guys are literally destroying democracy piece by piece, and you know you're doing it.
That is exactly how 70% of the country feels. Exactly.
Okay. All right.
You are in good company. When Judge Merchan said, okay, we have to postpone Trump's sentencing, everybody in the country said, oh, bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
they saw what happened and they got pissed. Every person I talked to, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't really understand what's going on with the media and how badly out of touch they've gotten.
They're getting a country where they're
everybody I talk to is pissed.
Yeah.
They are hot.
In Texas.
And these aren't complex issues.
Right.
They understand that the Supreme Court just gave us a despot. They get it.
So
they're pissed.
I have an insight. I have an insight into what Merchan did. So if he sentenced Trump now, right? It's news for 2 weeks. If he goes to jail, he goes to jail for 3, or if it's probably going to be time served, he's probably, even if it's home confinement in Mar-a-Lago. By agreeing very easily, okay, we'll postpone it. He's basically going to be sentencing Trump and reminding everybody weeks before we vote. A part of me was like, oh, that's the smartest move you could make. Because then we get to analyze everything this douchebag did again. So I thought it was kind of smart. It's what I say on this show, scream sanity, but also we need to be as loud and we need to be, and I don't want to, diabolical as they are for justice as they are for injustice. We need to be just as diabolical as they are to get justice as they are to get injustice.
Well, and that's what I said. People you have to think about. You're right. In that debate, he never answered one question they asked him. And they tried at first to say, well, my question was, and then he would go off on his other, and it just made zero sense. Black jobs. Are we going to talk about what in the absolute shit is a black job in 2024?
The saxophone player for the Temptations. That's a black job.
3 to 4 Supreme Court justices are going to be appointed because Thomas is waiting for a Republican to get back in office so that he can cruise off into the sunset in his stolen RV and with his lovely wife. So think about that. A stacked, even more stacked Supreme Court. Then you look at what they're doing to women's bodies. They don't want exceptions. They don't want exceptions for rape, for incest, for the life of the mother. It's bullshit because when Trump says, oh, except for the life of the mother, then who determines that? So now doctors are so afraid to work on women that they're sending them home bleeding to death because what if I think, and then the court rules that she could have survived it. And then they're going to fight birth control, which would prevent the need for some abortions. Then they're fighting IVF, which would be predominantly affluent women trying to have a baby.
But you don't want that
so
to happen.
None of those all don't make sense.
No.
Oh, it's just about controlling women's bodies. It has nothing to do. And this is, like you said, this is serious shit that people need to consider.
But here's what they don't, and I think Paul's right at this. Here's what they don't get. You're right. Everybody's pissed about this. I keep saying, you guys seem to not be aware that you took half of the population's rights away.
Yeah.
Like that's half. You took half away. But here's what I keep telling Ray. There's something we don't know because you tell me what you think. Are they this dumb that they just can keep moving forward with this stuff that's so unpopular that 70% of the people think it's crazy? Do you think they're that dumb? Or because of the Supreme Court, because of all these things that are dropping into place, or do they know something we don't know? They're so sure that whatever, let's say Russia's involved again. Let's say they've got the voting machines rigged. Let's say, like, what do they know that they're this confident with this heinous shit that no American wants? Like, what do you think?
Their strategists are old.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
They're living in another era. They're living in an era where you could get Dan Rather on the tube, and that was the only message that everyone heard. they don't understand what is happening in the country right now. They don't understand that the left has broken away from the media. We've just, I don't know anybody that still has cable, to be quite honest with you, much less is relying on cable news.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they don't get it. And it's freaking them out. That's why, like I said, that's why they're trying to do things like kill TikTok. You know, a big wake-up call for them was, like I said, they had the snitch, the bounty website here in Texas. Do you know what keeps happening to that? It's been knocked down, I think, 3 times now.
Wow.
Because on TikTok, every time they bring it back up, they tell everybody, hey, this website's back up, and they flood it with false reports. So it's useless. It's unmanageable, useless data.
Wow.
They're old. They're old paradigms. They're old. They don't get it. They really don't get it. That's why they're sitting on the news today trying to say, well, Biden's going to step down. When there isn't a Democrat, I know, point to me,
he's not
a Democrat, a real Democrat, somebody that's an actual Democrat that is saying Biden needs to step down.
No.
Hell, even John Fetterman, who's, you know, I mean, he's right on the line between Democrat and Republican. He is a conservative Democrat. Even John Fetterman's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fictional, and they don't understand how much this is pissing people off. They don't understand how this is just backfiring on them. Every single thing they do, they thought, we're going to look strong with Dobbs. We're going to get momentum off Dobbs. And then it blew up in their face because they did not fundamentally understand the American people anymore. Yeah. They just don't get it.
So what do you think? Well, all right. So then how did Trump get elected the first time? I mean, I get it. It wasn't the popular. People still argue with me. He lost the election. He won. He lost it by 3 million votes. So if that's true, do you think, because I think Trump did one thing. I think the one positive thing Trump did was he made all of us who didn't worry about politics and didn't think about it that much, think about it. Now we have to and we didn't. I don't think I was really aware how important the Supreme Court was. I just thought they decided stuff. I didn't realize how important they were till maybe 5-6 years ago, and then even more so now. So the good one thing he did do is, if he fails as a fascist dictator, if this takeover fails, I think we will stand strong as American. If it succeeds, we will lose America for decades. So how did Trump get elected if what you said is true? How did Trump get elected? I'm just being devil's advocate right now.
2016, how did Trump get elected? He was an unknown.
Right.
He was a relative unknown. All you knew about Trump was his fictional made up crap and The Apprentice. That's it. That's all you knew about the guy.
Right.
You didn't know he was such a ginormous asshole. Everybody knows now.
Yeah.
Everybody knows now.
Yeah.
That none of this is new. That's why the shtick isn't working. That's why after the debate, if you look at the actual numbers after the debate, the real paid for polls, the professional polls, every one of them, Trump, all he did was reaffirm for everybody exactly what he is.
Yeah.
We all know now. This isn't new anymore. And you ask, how did he get elected? You had a bunch of people that are just dealing with their lives. You know, I was talking to Richard Ojeda about this. He voted for Trump. He did. He'll tell you, I voted for Trump. Biggest mistake of my life. Because I didn't want a Clinton dynasty. That's what I was voting against. I didn't want a Clinton dynasty.
Right.
I knew Hillary Clinton, but I didn't know Donald Trump. I didn't know the mistake I was making. Yeah. Every one of those people that did not show up for Hillary Clinton, I have not had one person ever tell me, that was a good idea. I'm glad I did that. They all regret it. That's what we're looking at going into this next election. And that's why they don't understand why this, Biden's old crap isn't sticking.
Yeah.
It's just not sticking because everybody knows he's a decent guy.
Yep.
His administration isn't because Joe Biden's out there negotiating every deal and this. He has a administration around him that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got badasses in his I keep saying that. I go, guys, you're not voting for Biden. You're voting for a dude who knows how to manage a bunch of people that are experts.
Yeah.
And that's why things are changing in the country again. I'm sorry it's not fast enough for you. Here, people always go, yeah, but what about this? I go, do you guys understand how good Biden did? In 4 years, we were locked in our homes. We were screwed. I go, we had, the economy was tanking. Nobody was working. it turned around so fast that you're whining about the prices going high. But the reason the prices are high because it turned around so good. You know how economics works? On top of the supply chain being fixed, we had stores empty. It's just so, it got so good so fast. People are like, well, he's old. What is that all you got? Because
speaking of needing energy and vitality,
commercial, sorry.
This episode is brought to you by AG1.
AG1. Do you take AG1, man?
Absolutely.
Every diet has nutrient gaps. You could not possibly eat all the stuff that you would need to eat in order to get all of the vitamins and minerals that your body needs, not to mention probiotics, prebiotics. Then if you try and take all the pills, that's a crap ton of pills that your body doesn't really absorb anyway.
Right. So, and you can see when you take a leak that your body did not absorb that.
Exactly.
Your body can't absorb that color.
So I had never heard of AG1 before they started advertising with us, and they made us take it for a month. They said, we want to advertise with you. Well, they didn't force us.
Yeah, they did. They held me down. Well, they wouldn't let us. What I loved about them is they wouldn't let us advertise the product until we took the product. So here's what it is, man. You know, these green drinks you see in the past, they never taste good. The guy invented AG1. Had a gut problem, didn't invent it as a product, invented it so he didn't have gut problems anymore. And he worked and he worked and he worked and he finally got it right. I have never had more well-being when I take it. About half an hour later, I feel awesome. It's got adaptogens.
Gut health.
How many? 75?
Over 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, adaptogens, probiotics, prebiotics. You're getting things for immune support, for your gut health. Not only that, but they test it and it's backed by multiple research studies that you can go and read on their site. They keep an in-house team of doctors, scientists, and researchers. Hey, they believe in science, as well as third-party experts on studies that will validate the benefit. So they keep reformulating it too to make it even better. So
how do we get it?
I'm about to say, and then I will kill you. Not only that, nutrition starts in your gut. So I attest to this. Have it in the morning is my favorite time. You will notice a difference. It took after that first 30 days, we were like, oh yeah, we're advertising this product. Tap one more time and I'm leaping across this table.
What I do? I didn't do anything.
I'm
sitting
out.
here quietly.
You know why? Because I have energy to do that because of AG1. If there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1. It's why we've partnered with them for so long. It's easy, satisfying to start your journey with them. Try AG1. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/Titus. That's drinkag1.com/Titus. Check it out.
Good stuff. Paul, I just want to know, I'm glad you came on today because I was really, this Supreme Court thing has got me down. And if you know why, you watch what I do, I'm never down. I'm always, and I'm down. I'm like, how it almost feels like, I keep wondering, like, do you know about the Kavanaugh thing, the $200,000 that just like he got out of nowhere to pay up? Like, what happened with, like, we have this, and then you got Amy Coney Barrett, who really was never even like, she doesn't really have anything going for her. It just seems like such a setup, you know, and you got to remember that Trump hung out with Putin since 1987. So Putin's thing is get as much crap on people so you can run them. I always wonder when these people, like Rubio, he basically thrashed Rubio, and Rubio's like, yeah, he's my guy now.
Ted Cruz,
Lindsey Graham, who came out and said Biden's a great guy, Trump sucks. One golf game, Trump's my guy. What does this man have on everybody? This is worse than the Oswald, the Kennedy assassination.
I don't get the appeal. I never thought that we would have a president that crinkles when he walks. It's like, you guys, he's actively pooping himself when he walks. Help make it make sense.
Trump has nothing on them. Nothing. Trump has nothing on them. It all makes sense when you realize it's the billionaire donors. They own the Republican Party, 100%, lock, stock, and barrel. You know, the other day, you mentioned in Ted Cruz, his fundraising agenda, one of his staffers screwed up and left it in the coffee shop, and a reporter picked it up and printed it. And it just shows you 100%. Mr. Texas, I eat machine gun bacon, was up there in New York with the owner of Estee Lauder, kissing his ass in a men's only club.
Wow.
It's just it's one thing after another after another. It's the billionaire donors that own them. Trump passed tax cuts that no one would have signed that shit.
No, it cost us $7 trillion.
Trump will do anything he's told.
Yeah, $7 trillion it cost us.
The rest of the Republican Party, they don't love Trump. They really don't. If you talk to them behind closed doors, they hate him. I mean, the guy's a jackass to everybody, including them.
But then why not get somebody?
It's the donors that own them.
Okay, see, let's go back to circle all the way back, which is 100% goes back to Citizens United. God damn it! Had they not had Scalia not done that, we wouldn't have this. We need listen. You can't have a country that is for the people, by the people, if the people can't afford to pay the politicians. We need to get that out of politics, and that'll never happen because you can't put the people in charge of stopping money to the people who are in charge. They're in charge of it. It doesn't make any sense. I think we need. Here's what scares me. So we got Trump coming up. We got all this stuff at the Supreme Court being obviously the most corrupt Supreme Court we've seen in my lifetime. The problem I see coming is I don't see a legislative change. I don't see unless this election, unless everybody votes and we get the House, the Senate, and the presidency again. And we get it by big enough margin so it's not this half-ass saying that it's 2 votes, 5 votes. It has to be 30 votes or whatever. And I don't see anything changing unless violence. What do you think? I don't even like saying that, but I mean, I don't see. I mean, we're going to have to pass the only way to fix what the Supreme Court just did is to pass an amendment to the Constitution. That's the only way to do it. You can't undo it.
Well, look, again, let me pull you back from the list.
All right. By the way, Ray's going to make you come on every week.
I was going to say, how available are you?
Blowout elections are 5 points.
Right.
No kidding. I mean, they're 5-6 points.
Right.
Okay, that's a blowout.
Yep.
There is a huge reservoir of people out there. You know it. They just don't have the bandwidth. They're not into politics. They're not paying attention. That's the number one resource out there for people that you can bring in to vote.
Right.
And if you take a look at what's happening as far as the voting trends are concerned, this is a presidential year election. This is when we show up. We Democrats, we don't show up in off years. We don't show up at special elections. We don't. We just don't. Presidential elections, we're there. This is our year. Then at our backs, we have Roe. You can't unring that bell.
Right.
You just can't. We've got this SCOTUS decision. Everybody understands this. Everybody understands this. They do. They know this 100%.
God, you have more faith in people than I do.
An election where we could literally end the Republican Party. We could literally end the Republican Party.
They're already doing
in red states.
My concern is all the people that aren't. It's like John Bolton saying he's going to write in Dick Cheney. He knows Trump's evil. He knows that he's going to do away with NATO. He knows how vulnerable that would make us in the world. And he said, but I'm going to write in Dick Cheney.
My biggest fear is we have what, 6 months left, and there's a lot that can happen in 6 months. As a matter of fact, Comey coming out 3 days before the election and talking about Hillary changed everything. You know, that man is not that man is allowed to put out books that he is not just a pariah just frustrates me. He didn't have the right to even do that. He went against FBI policy to do that. And you don't think that Trump has anything on anybody, then why not back somebody who's the same policies but's palatable, but knows how to do it? Why back this douchebag? That money? It's money?
No. We keep saying it. It's not a joke. It really is a cult.
Yeah.
It really is a cult. I mean, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. It really is a cult. When you build your identity around somebody, it's the hardest thing in the world to change that. It really is. And you're not going to get these people to walk away. That's why you have people like Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley hates Trump with a passion. She really does. She's a professional politician.
She bailed.
I can't stand the woman, but she's a professional politician. She says at the end of it, after all this terrible crap that she says about Trump, she says, but I'm voting for Trump.
Yes.
Because she understands that very thing. It's a cult. These people have spent the last 5 years of their lives making their entire identity about being MAGA. You can't go on. Look at Chris Christie. Decimated because he just came out, no holds barred, said, this guy's horrible. He's got to go. Mitt Romney, they threw him under the bus.
Cheney, Kinzinger.
They will not. Their self-identity is such that they can't. All of these people like Nikki Haley keep waiting for Trump to implode. They're waiting for this next election, to be quite honest with you. When Trump loses again, that will break the spell. It will. I mean, he has cost them election after election after election. Remember, the last election was supposed to be a red wave. It was an off-year election. We don't show up for those. They told everybody in their movement that they had it made. Red tide, going to just blow us all out, and it didn't happen.
No, they picked up 5.
Cost them a lot of support. This election can literally end the Republican Party.
Okay. All right. Scream sanity. All right. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to have you on before the if he wins, I'm going to have you on before the troopers shut us down. But but I want you to know, man, you've given me some optimism today. But the thing about Nikki Haley is this. I thought she was smart. She pulled that Confederate flag down off the State House. She left it. She saw where I think when she bailed on the Trump administration, she saw where it was going. She knew where it was going. But if you think this could end the Republican Party, why didn't January 6th end the Republican Party? We all watched it on TV. If literally trying to take over the government didn't end it, why do you think this election will?
It did. It did. Do you know elections are points, 2 points, 4 points, 5 points. Do you know how many people looked at January 6th that are Republican, hardcore MAGA, and said, I'm out.
Yeah.
I am out. You have white supremacists shitting on my Capitol. I'm out.
Right.
That really, really happened, man. I mean, that is why. Look at the last election, Titus.
Yeah, 8 million votes is a lot. 8 million.
They were supposed to just kick our ever-loving ass.
Yep.
They were supposed to decimate us, and it didn't happen because January 6th. By the time you figure in January 6th, Roe, the Supreme Court, you're going to have Juan Merchan is going to not sentence Donald Trump at the end of September, going into October. He's going to tell the American people, guilty, I can't touch him because they made him a king. And then we're going to walk into the voting booth and vote. Okay. How do you think people are going to vote, man?
Okay.
I mean, really, this isn't like, it's not hyperbole for the folks that you know. Rachel Bidikofer, great strategist, points out the fact that during the last election, the number one Google thing was like a basketball player. Had nothing to do with the election at all. That's not happening anymore, man.
Yeah.
People are seeing this.
Yeah.
This is not a difficult concept to understand. They saw them kill the border bill. They saw them, I mean,
but
they're
man,
doing it for us.
You know the weird part about it, and I have this problem, is that when I sit down and write down and get updates, it's like, it's all, like you said, they don't have the bandwidth. It's not just one. It's not just Roe. It's Roe. It's the border bill. It's the literally the most unproductive House of Representatives we've ever had in the history of America. They're talking about, they're going after the guys, the crack addicted, the son of the president, and not doing shit about it. Jim Jordan has the balls to go, you need to go to jail for not showing up for subpoena. Dude, you fucking what? And so it's not the bandwidth. They don't have the bandwidth to deal with 3 of those things, and we have 70. And so how do we clear all that up to as the election approaches, where we go, all right, you guys do remember all this. I guess we have to just do what we do. Just keep doing what we do. Hope there's another 1,000 dudes like us that are doing the same thing. And that number adds up to make a difference in the election. I have to tell you something. I did not expect you to actually be the optimistic side of this conversation. You've pulled me out of the fire a bit. I went, now, but
maybe you're good for him.
he's
like, good for you.
Well,
you're good for him.
He can tell every week I'm about to have an aneurysm screaming into the camera. So thank you, man. I feel a little optimistic and still frightened. And what you said still is going to take every good American, every true American, to do their job on election day. You got to do your job. You want healthcare. You want your taxes used for healthcare instead of bombs. You want cheap drugs. You want to give the president the power to basically to actually make it better, like he has been in the last 4 years. Then you got to do your job. That's the only way this works. Or we lose it, and then you never have to vote again because you won't be able to. That's what I think is going to happen. All right.
Amen, brother.
Dude, you're awesome,
Preach it, man. Preach it.
Can I tell you, thank you for being on? And I weirdly, I feel better. She's going to be calling you now.
He feels worse now. But his wife's going to call me.
Do me a favor, man. Tell me, tell everybody about your show, where we can see you and how we can subscribe.
Coffee with Texas Paul every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube. Just Google it. You'll find me. You'll find me. Go to realtexaspaul.com. There's a link there that'll take you straight to YouTube. We do it like I said, every Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. But they're asking me to do an evening show. So I don't know, man. Maybe we had to add one in there. But let me tell you something while I got you.
Okay.
You two are killing it. I am telling you, I've watched people do this, and it's like, okay, I need this information, but it's like sucking a lemon. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God. Rachel, you are one of the smartest people I have ever met in my life. And just listening to you lay down the facts and then watching Titus's head explode. It works, man. It freaking works. Y'all have the best show. I swear to God. I absolutely love it. But I swear to God, if you make me ruin another keyboard, I'm going to send you the bill.
Okay.
You are coming on every week.
Yeah, it's not.
Now that he's complimenting me, I think that's a given now.
It means a lot.
It works, man. I'm telling you guys, I love watching it. I mean, it's over and it's like, wow, that was an hour? No shit. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, it works, guys. You're killing it.
Well, you made my day.
And that's what's going to save us. And that's what's going to save us.
But you too, though, man. You too, like honestly, listen, my family was here since 1628. My 10th grandfather came over on the Hopewell. I love this country. My entire lifeline depends on this country. It depends on the freedom this country provides. My comedy, at saying what I want to say, speaking out when needs to be spoken, and that will disappear if this douchebag gets back in office. So I want to thank you for always standing for it. And by the way, in the hotbed of Texas, you do it. You're a hero, man. We
first discovered you on Twitter.
Yep.
Because,
I was like, well, look at this dude.
And you were also screaming sanity in an extremely insane time. And so it was very cool for us when we got to finally meet you and your lovely wife. Your wife is awesome too. And just because we were drawn to you by what you were putting out there and what you were doing and the idiots that you were standing up to on Twitter. Was it still Twitter then?
Are you still on Twitter?
Oh, yeah. There's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I do it all, man.
Go to Texas Paul, people.
You can't scream loud enough. And Titus, I just hope to God these ladies don't figure it out. They're so much smarter than we are.
They already have figured it out. They're just not as insane as we are. They figured out. They're like, nah, just let him do that stuff.
You guys are both good guys.
Yeah.
We
People
know
tell me
that.
all the time, man, how did you land your wife, man? I'm like, haven't got a clue, but thank God every day.
Well, you're smart, you're funny, and you're a good dude. I think women, you got to remember, we've had some stuff in our family. There's a lot of men out there right now that have developed this. I want to do what I want to do without thinking about anybody else. Seeing that bro area. There's still real men out there. You're one of them, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
I will be in touch, man. Ladies, everybody, Texas Paul.
Texas Paul, go check him out. You will love his show.
If you love this show, you'll love his show.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Take it easy, man.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, bud.
Bye.
All right, I just want to thank Texas Paul one more time. It was great.
Awesome.
He's awesome, smart. I love the dude. He's in the hotbed of the nightmare of that Texas can be when it comes to red states versus blue states. So guys, Texas Paul, I hope you feel better. I know I didn't help you today, but Texas Paul probably did. And Paul helped make me feel a little better. But the thing is, we got to vote. We got to get it done. Do you have anything else to say about this? What did you think about, what do you think his point is valid?
I don't know that I believe it because I am currently living in a more pessimistic world.
Yeah, it seems very dark.
He's I hope that he's right. I would love if he's right, but I am a little disillusioned with the stupidity of mankind.
But also, doesn't it feel like we don't have any, like the Supreme Court just dropped this crazy ruling that's against literally.
Which day?
I
was
know.
the crazy
Okay,
ruling?
let's say that ever since Scalia,
Fucking
they just
Christ.
one after the other. Citizens United goes against the Constitution.
Bribery is legal.
Bribery is legal.
Obviously, Roe versus Wade.
Roe versus Wade, which is
Immunity
settled
thing,
law,
just immunity
immunity, and you just go, and there's no recourse. That's the fucked up part. Is like, wait, I thought we lived in a country where checks and balances had made sure this didn't happen.
Yeah.
But when Ray pointed out that they just basically gave the executive branch power over the judicial branch, which is not supposed to happen.
Mhm.
3 separate
That's terrifying.
branches of government.
That's really terrifying.
When you said it, I was like, oh shit, I just got it like in a way that I hadn't
You
gotten
have
it.
to imagine a world in which, like I said, a Supreme Court is stacked for the next, 50, 60 years, maybe, where women have 0 rights over their own bodies. And that you don't have to be a man to understand how serious that is. But you would have to think about your mothers, your sisters, your daughters. Are you raising your daughters in a world where that's a reality?
But also, if your political beliefs, let's go this with your
And
man.
then my last thing was, and that when he gets in office, he's not even pretending that he's not looking for I am your retribution.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he said.
We have him saying
You're
it.
talking about a police state where he is authorizing the military and the National Guard to make mass arrests of immigrants or anyone suspected of being an illegal immigrant.
Or this podcast for talking bad about him.
Putting them into camps. They said people that opposed him, JD Vance, a bunch of them X'd or tweeted or whatever about putting all these listed journalists that are going to go to prison. So you have to think about that. My niece was a Marine, and I was riding around with her the other day, and she was listening to the news in my car, and she goes, military's not going to do that. And I said, he's going to order it. She goes, oh, I understand he's going to order it. She goes, we wouldn't do that. She goes, maybe some would. She said, but there'd be a lot of people being up on charges.
Yeah, but all we need is some. If some do follow that order, and some will.
But
that's chaos. though.
That's where the Civil War Part 2 comes in.
Yeah.
That's where the follow-up
You
Civil
gotta
War
stop
comes in.
saying that.
This
No,
entire
I'm just saying if the military splits like that and some join the president who's
Right.
violating everything we stand for, and the other half's like, no, we took an oath for freedom and democracy.
one guy with a tank can change the course of the country.
Ugh.
I mean, this whole fucking country was designed to not be a kingship.
How are we? Yeah, that's why they
And
came
the
here.
fucking Supreme Court now we have kings in place now. They're giving more power to the president, basically to a king. It's what we didn't want.
I wish people understood it, but the problem is, Reagan, you fuck up the education system enough. People don't even know what you're doing when you're doing it because they don't understand why it's against everything we believe in.
Oh yeah, just layered on top of that, and then we've got the Fairness Doctrine gone. Yeah. Citizens United now money into the politics from companies.
Yep.
So now it's run all by them.
They're not companies; they're people.
And that's what this is all about. It's like when you were talking with Paul about it. That's what this is all about. We know a lot of those congressmen and women hate him. Yes. Even Tucker, who you would have thought was attached like a barnacle to his diaper wrapped butthole, we found out in his emails that he effing, quote, I effing hate the guy, that he thought he was stupid. And it's like, oh, so you just went on television every night and lied and completely shamed the American people who watch your show, but you actually hate him.
But you do understand the lack of character, honor,
yes,
that it takes to be that much of a scumbag.
That's what you're saying. It's a power and money.
But I'm not even
Money
talking
is
about
now in
Trump.
politics.
I'm talking about the people like, did you have fucking parents?
Yeah.
Because they've got to be like disgusted with you, Lindsey Graham.
I really still need to pause and just applaud and approve of Barnacle on a Butthole.
Yeah,
that is a very good. Let's take a minute.
Thank you.
Just
thank you.
Good one. Good job.
We just stunned.
You have been elevated to a new position.
I like that I had to say butthole for you guys to be like,
To
all
wake
right,
up, to
you've
be
been
like,
elevated.
hold on. It was
Go on,
man. All right. And
if
now,
you guys want to see us, by the way, I just want to say there's a lot of new dates added and being added. But we're coming up on Omaha, Nebraska. We love that club at the Funny Bone. Las Vegas has been added at the end of July when it's nice and cool and breezy. We've added Pittsburgh at the City Winery in August, and then Buffalo Helium Comedy Club right after that. And then Nashville City Winery just got added. And then coming up is Schaumburg. There's so many new things. You guys got to go look.
And now it's time for Highlanders Fun Facts.
Yeah.
Highlanders Fun Facts. It's Highlanders Fun Facts. Come on.
Yeah. Wow, that was you guys. Okay,
We
that was your best yet.
You can only. We're trying to get.
Bravo.
We have a stadium
Even
tour.
I'm coming
We have
out,
a
so-
we're exactly. We're trying to use the
Just
greatest
with that
hits.
one song.
Does anybody remember peace? Does anybody remember laughter? I don't even know what that's from. That's just in my brain somewhere.
I don't.
The peace sign is now universally understood to express harmony and goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
But did you know that the symbol itself is based on
A Mercedes logo
to
with an extra line.
close? That's the opposite of. That's just a morphed swastika. I'm pretty sure.
What is it?
I'm going to
Peace
pause
sign.
for dramatic effect.
I can't take it.
It is a semaphore. That's another fun fact. What's a semaphore? Yes. Look at the big brain over here.
Semaphore flags.
Semaphore for N and D for nuclear disarmament.
So originally, peace sign means nuclear disarmament.
Interesting.
That didn't work out. Maybe
No, we have 'em.
maybe
A lot of 'em.
Maybe
hippies
you
wearing
should've just
necklaces.
said
Maybe we
it.
should go a little further than giving a guy who smells like patchouli a necklace.
Now they're wearing Mercedes hats.
I like when you have an idea to change the world and then you don't tell anyone.
Yeah. But we made T-shirts.
And
we got a lot of
jewelry.
T-shirts.
Yes. Yeah.
John Lennon liked it.
Plus, I
Confused on an ugly
have
shirt.
trouble trusting anyone with armpit hair. I mean, woman, at least. My sister went through that phase. It's just not a good phase. Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Your sister was
Oh,
a
yeah.
hippie?
She was not a hippie,
Trouble
but
trusting
she
anyone with
was
armpit
in
hair.
college at Auburn. Well, it's true. It covers men
That's what I
and
said.
women that make poor choices. She always went through phases and was dating some Middle Eastern guys and then came home for Easter. And I still have the pictures where she wanted to do pictures in a sleeveless dress with my brother and me for Easter.
Oh,
And my brother and I in the picture are both like this because we really didn't. Because she was like,
Was it the
come on,
Oh.
guys.
Was she borrowing from some of the hair?
She,
You know how-
she harvested her own.
Ah.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I want to thank Texas Paul again for joining us and trying to drop some optimism. I don't know if it landed, but I will appreciate that he dropped it.
Maybe we need to hear it more often.
Yeah, he's great. Guys, scream sanity every day. We have 6 months. We can get out of this a little bit. Of course, Trump can run again when he's 83.
Dear God.
Why?
I just think, is it ever going
Stop
to end?
putting-
Doesn't it feel like it's
Wrap
never
it
going to
up.
Peace sign,
You've
peace sign.
devolved again. Yeah.
Guys, thank you. For myself, the lovely Bomb Show, Ray and the Highlander. Later!
Peace out.
That could be the one.
Thank you, Paul.